Yes, good result for us. Good point on the road. Happy with our defensive behavior. Happy with the clean sheet. We have had a really difficult game here. Two of the best sides in the league against each other. Difficult circumstances also with the weather. They are on a massive unbeaten run as well, also especially in the home games. And if you then come away with a good point with a clean sheet on the road, it's always a good result. It was a game of little mistakes. I think both teams were there more or less without mistakes, or at least without crucial mistakes for that. I think both teams were struggling in order to create enough chances. I'm pretty happy how we controlled their processes against the ball. With the ball, would have wished that in the final third, in and around the box, we would have been a bit more confident, a bit more committed. And if you play such a well-defending side after, 29 games, not even considered double figures so far. Of course, when a chance comes along, you have to be a bit more on it. So I think in the build-up, in the midfield play, we were patient enough to bring ourselves into good positions, but when it came down to the final decision, the final pass, the final finish, I think we could have been a bit more convinced and a bit more committed to our action and also a bit better prepared. So that's the only thing I could criticize perhaps a little bit. But apart from this, doesn't take anything away. That's definitely a good game and a good result for us against such a tough opponent here on the road, yes.
Dan, you made that one change to at the starting 11 where Willock comes in and Joe Rocker goes to the bench. Was that because you thought you were going to need to be a little bit more defensively minded tonight?
Yes, first of all, we had a busy period, and Joe was probably the midfielder who was involved most of all my midfield players. Was also in the last game the only one who played in midfield 90 minutes and looked a little bit tired in the last games, always in the last minutes. And today, obviously, Burnley has a special, pretty approach, and also quite often they work with the dropping striker, and then their midfield players, pretty physical and pretty dangerous, are then there with counter movements and runnings in behind with channel runs. This is why Brownhill, for example, is already on 9 goals. So for that, we needed today legs and physicality also to control these ones. And for that, the feeling was that especially Ilya Gruev would be quite important. I'm pretty happy how he handled all this, because to control Brownhill is always important also against Burnley. This is what we did today, and together with Sao Tanaka, he was really, really important for our defensive behavior. So yes, that was definitely one of the reasons, yes.
What's the latest on Pascal Strack? I know you said he was coming back into training. Have you had more good news? You were slightly cautious last week when you were talking about it.
Yes, I hope we can involve him at some point during this week in training, so don't have that much time between the games before the Cardiff game, but I hope that he will be back in training, and then we will see a bit closer to the game at what point he will be also available for selection, or at least to be able to sit on the bench. So it depends on how the next days will develop. He has not trained with the team yet, but I hope we can involve him pretty soon.
And Daniel, what can you say about the market at this stage? It's getting closer towards the end.
It was quiet in the last 6 hours. I have not checked my phone because I was concentrated on the game. So, but good recommendation. I will check my phone after this press conference, and then the next press conference I can perhaps tell you a little bit more.
Great. How much do you feel that the onus was on Burnley to try and attack you tonight, and did you expect them to have more of a go?
No, it's not up to me to judge what they have done or what they should have done, and we will concentrate on ourselves. And when you analyze Burnley's games, they have a bit special approach, and you have to be ready for this in order to control this. You have to make sure that you're rock solid also in defending this, what we were. And the problem is more like they take pretty little risk with the ball in terms of losing the ball in dangerous areas. So if they lose the ball, then just in areas when they can't be hurt on the counter-attack. This is why you never have a counter-attack or really a dangerous transition moment against them. And that makes it so complicated. Yeah, you have always to prepare and to create a chance more or less against a compact block. So they're well structured against the ball. Pretty much credit also to Scott how he does this, and it's a bit special approach. And for that, it's complicated to create chances against them if they should do it in a different way or braver or whatever. So it's not up to me to judge. I'm just focused on how we approach a game and what we want to do and what is important for us. And for that, with our defensive behavior, I was pretty pleased. also with our build-up and how we controlled the game a bit more like closer to the opponent's goal, we could have been a bit less nervous, a bit more confident, and a bit more committed. Then we could have had even better approach. But I think it's also credit to us and our reputation that also opponent, a really strong opponent in the home game, is perhaps even a bit more cautious against us. This also says a lot about our reputation in the league, and for that I think it's also a testament for the lads. Yes.
The away fans gave you a big ovation at the end. Do you think that was in recognition of the importance of the point, maybe rather than the entertainment?
Yes, because I can't say that was an unbelievable advertisement today. So I wouldn't say it was the nicest piece of football. But it's quite often when the best sides in the league or two of the best sides play against each other, and no one is there with a mistake. Quite often it's more or less, it looks a bit like a chess game. So it was not the most entertaining one. So, but our supporters have a good knowledge of the game, and they know how complicated it is also to play against such a side, and how important the point also was for us to stay unbeaten, to stay on top, to keep the distance. Also really good defensive behavior, and they also know that Burnley is a really good side. Have played Premier League last season, are unbeaten since ages. I think it was more or less, it was a really good point and a pragmatical point today. I wouldn't say that that was some, not sure if I'm allowed to say this, the most sexiest piece of football today. So it was not, I would say.
The players took a lot of confidence last season from the big wins against Leicester and Ipswich. Is that result there enough of a confidence boost for you? It was what's to come for your players?
Overall, we are confident because we are right now also on a massive unbeaten run. We are top of the league. We had so many good results, and also we dominate more or less each and every game. Also, when there is perhaps sometimes just a draw, but we are always on the front foot. So I wouldn't say that we need to be even a bit more confident, but you can feel in this special type of games. Once you play against Burnley, or it will be also a bit against Sheffield or Sunderland, when you play this spotlight games, yes, perhaps there you could be a bit more confident, because I would back Daniel James. The chance he had in the first half, I would say from this angle, normally 8 out of 10 attempts he fires the ball into the top corner. Today in this game, everyone speaks also how well a Burnley defense. Perhaps he was a bit nervous. Oh, there is a chance, and then a bit overthinking this. Perhaps it helps also, like we spoke about this at halftime. Even in these big games, to be then fully convinced and fully committed. But we have also shown this games like in the home game against Sheffield United or whatever. So overall, a point and a clean sheet away at Turf Moor is definitely not the worst thing. Also for the confidence, but we are on a good level anyway.
Did you find the results on Friday night and on Saturday? Was there a sense in the dressing room before the match tonight that this was an opportunity for your players?
Yes, of course, but overall, so we don't interpret at this stage of the season too much into the table, and also not in the other results, because 17 games to go. So in Germany, I worked before Leeds, it would be half of the season anyhow. So the last 4 or 5 games, then you have a little bit more intense look what happens on other pitches. Right now, even if you would have won the game, then we would be on, what was it, 62 points. If we then stop winning points, we would not even make it into the top 6 anyhow. So for that, there are way too many games to play in order to overanalyze other results or whatever. Of course, you are aware that if you are there with a win, you can make a huge step, or with a good point, you can keep the distance and improve your position even further on. This is what we did, and for that, it was always a big game for the players, and also important for them. And I think they're all also not 100% happy, because 100% happy we're just after win, but also delighted with a good point.
Hi Daniel. I thought the whole defence played really well again today. Particularly impressed with Joe Rodon, and obviously started every championship game this season. How impressed are you with him, but also his longevity throughout this season?
Yes, he deserves lots of praise, like our whole defensive behavior. It's always a team effort. Also the midfield player and offensive player played their part in their defensive work. We spoke about the tactical approach against Brownhill and co. Overall, what Joe has done also in terms of how he handled the situation when he was on 4 yellow cards is remarkable, because it feels right now since 20 games he is without yellow cards. A bit more annoyed with the yellow cards we conceded today, by the way. I have not watched the scenes back, but the feeling was always after wrong decision of the referee anyhow. And then he gives one of my players a yellow card. But we could have reacted a bit smarter anyhow. Yeah, especially with Jaden's yellow card, I was not really happy because he has already a few. Overall, our defensive players, many compliments today, Joe, and especially that he's a key player for us. And for me, yeah, one of the best central defenders in this league. There's no doubt about this, and pretty important player, and hopefully he can continue with his top form.
And you said last week about the game plan, about being patient in the build-up, not force attack. Obviously, I know you didn't score today, but do you think your side stuck to that plan today?
No, the plan is not always more or less like to slow the game down in order to attack. Otherwise, we wouldn't be there with the highest expected goals, with the most goals scored anyhow, with unbelievable goal difference in this league. So it's always the plan. We want to attack as quick as possible. But obviously against Burnley, you can never do this out of transition moments, because they never lose the ball in the center of the play, because they never play through the center. Quite often they go for a long ball to Jaden Anthony, and if they lose the ball, then they have still all the players behind the ball. And then to open up more or less a compact, well-defending, structured block who is there with good individual quality and well-structured by Scott. Yeah, it's not like, okay, one pass and you're 1-on-1 on the goalkeeper. You have to be prepared and have to be patient. We rather want to create the chance as quick as possible, but sometimes it's a bit more complicated and you need to use more passes and prepare the situations a bit more, because otherwise you allow them to counter-attack against yourself, and this is more or less what you have to keep in mind. So today it was really difficult because they were so well structured.
Stuart?
Daniel, to not concede a shot on target, what does that say about the patience of your defensive unit, and how difficult is that on the
Yes, it says first of all that we dominated major part of this game in a difficult away game. Pretty happy with this. And that when they were attacking, that we were spot on, and also like in our decision making against the ball and also our tactical approach. Pretty happy with this. It was more or less the same in the last game against Norwich. 0.01 expected goals was more or less the same in the game before. So 3 clean sheets in a row. Pretty happy with this. Credit to the whole team, because just whatever the backline with the goalkeeper, not just responsible for a clean sheet. The whole team has to put a shift in. This is what we did today, and this says a lot about our spirit and togetherness at the moment. Yes.
And the fact that you left people like Nonto on the bench, did you feel that you just didn't want to disrupt, say, the sort of concentration and the build up and play that you had?
Today it was important, also like in the central midfielder position, Brendan Aronson, for example, to have also a player who can cover unbelievable amount of distance, because they have such a physicality in the center. Was not possible because Willie is more a winger who is then not there with so much covered ground, and the only option was then Largy was really sharp in the last game, so I want to bring him in on the left side, and the only other option was Daniel James to take him out, but the feeling was also with him, with his pace, he can always create, especially against such a well-structured block sometimes. So for me, it's also no coincidence that Daniel James had 2 of our best chances in the first half, and also pretty close to the final whistle when the goalkeeper was in there with a good save after corner attack. And his relationship with Jaden Bogle is on a really good level at the moment. I was hoping that there is perhaps one final situation from DJ when he scores, and that was the reason I didn't bring Willie in today. So always also myself, I'm a bit disappointed when I can't bring him in, because I like him that much, but today we had to think a bit pragmatical what was needed for the game, and the feeling was we need also today an offensive player with his pace, because pace against their backline is the biggest chance to create a goal.